Wide World of Sodas.
We're back.
Yep. So a little bit
Dave.
of housekeeping. Oh yeah, Dave, Scott, and it's been a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, we've had things, work. It's hard to break away for even a few minutes to do this, but I'm glad we could. First off, we had a couple of comments from YouTube subscribers, viewers of the Wide World of Sodas. First was Eddie Schneider, who said we should test out Barq soda, which we shall. There we go. I think we've tested Barq soda in our homes many times.
Oh, heavens, yes.
We like Barq's because it has caffeine in it.
Yes, it's caffeinated.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And Davida Williams said, hey, we should try to use Pilsner glasses. Now, unfortunately, we are at work. Theoretically, this is lunchtime. And we don't have those here. We at some point maybe we'll invest in that, but we're gonna still taint the flavor of Barq's. Sorry, Davida, with these paper cups. But on the good side, these are Ecotainer cups that are fully recycled, and we're being kind to the environment as we pour in the Barq's goodness.
Just not as eco-friendly as if we weren't putting these back in the environment. Oh, they are recyclable.
So let's test this out.
A wonderful, wonderful root beer. Love it.
You know, I don't get those people that don't like root beer.
You know, I don't know about for you, but for our family, it is a summer tradition to make our own. Dry ice, big plastic bucket.
Summer, I would think that's like, it feels to me like it's fall and Halloween.
Yeah, it's always summer picnics. Yeah, you know, when you get the barbecues going. Yeah.
Does it taste medicine-y to you? Because it does not taste medicine-y to me. I mean, there's a hint. Sometimes I think I can, like a hint of licorice or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I think that is the root, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is actually sarsaparilla, but you know, there is a root that this is made from, and licorice is also made from a root. So
yeah, there you go. The science of root beer. We are not soda scientists, merely consumers of the beverage.
Yes.
And this was a good one. Eddie thought about testing against others, but you know what? Barq's is right at the top of my list of the main root beers. Now there's some locally brewed root beers that are pretty darn good too.
They are. And A&W, if you've ever been to a place that'll serve A&W in a frosted mug.
Yes, if you get in a frosted mug.
You cannot go wrong there, but
you cannot. Yeah. Okay, topic today, Styx.
Styx.
So there's another guy by the name of Dave that does all sorts of YouTube or music opinion, speculative stuff, and he's been talking about Styx a lot lately, which got me thinking about Styx, which got me watching a lot of YouTube videos about Styx and remembering the good times.
It's on a full rotation in my house. All the albums from the 70s, even up through the early 80s, are on full rotation on my.
When you say up through the early 80s, what do you mean by that?
Paradise Theater, I start to tip off.
So was that like 83, 84?
It was, yeah.
So I'm trying to think, maybe 82 even. We should know the dates, but we don't. But what you're getting at is one of my favorite albums, Kilroy Was Here, is not on rotation.
It's not on rotation in my house.
You don't like the Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto song?
You know, because it charted and it was the #1 hit for them off that album, it gets overplayed.
Right.
And so for that reason, but it was such a divergence, right?
Yeah, it was.
Not that I have anything against concept albums
I love
or anything.
concept albums.
But it was at the tail end of concept albums, and they were going out of favor, and it tore the band apart.
There were issues there, which we can talk about. But I will say this: one of the things I loved about it was actually Kilroy Was Here album came out right as MTV was becoming very popular. The music video as a medium was becoming popular, and they took that concept album and then took it and put it into video format. And we had I think there's a number of videos that played out into a long-form story, and you had Tommy Shaw, Dennis DeYoung, and James Young, JY, I should say, all playing roles in this mini movie, which I just thought was so cool. I loved that. Now, Mr. Roboto itself, maybe not. Especially if you love the harder rocking stuff, that just was kind of poppy.
Yeah,
right?
it was very pop oriented. It didn't have a lot of the whole album itself didn't have a lot of rock to it, but I mean, there's some good stuff on that album. It just, to me, it's not Styx. It's kind of Styx trying to evolve into something else.
Right. It was Dennis. Definitely had. He's very theatric.
Yes.
Which led to, you talked about the band kind of parting ways, and Dennis. There were health issues also that played out.
Yeah. Well, Tommy Shaw's explosion on stage that kind of ended the band thing, because they were playing those characters right during their performances, and he just basically broke his guitar and threw it in the crowd and said, "I'm done." But at that time he was struggling with substance abuse, so who knows how much of that had to do with it.
Right. And Dennis and Tommy both at that point kind of pursued solo careers for a while. Right?
Well, and so did JY, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, now truthfully, I don't really remember the JY stuff. I know he put out albums, but I do remember, Desert Moon and Tommy's Girls with Guns album. So, both excellent albums.
Yes.
Good stuff. So going back to Styx, though. So we've talked a little bit about, and Dennis, of course, is no longer in the band. No. Doing his own thing, playing Styx songs on his own. But going back to Styx during their heyday, let's call it the 76 to 81, 82-ish.
Okay.
What are the highlights for you?
Well, for me, I was introduced to Styx with Pieces of Eight, right? And that was my Columbia Record House.
Did you get that as a free?
That was my penny. That was one of mine for a penny, right?
Or whatever.
And got sucked me into that debacle that we all got sucked into. But so I was introduced to that. But then through that same Columbia House, I bought all the previous stuff, and big fan of Renegade and some of their earlier stuff. Just great sound that came out of those guys.
Yeah, so it sounds to me, you mentioned Renegade, which is a Tommy Shaw song.
It is.
And it sounds to me like you kind of, do you lean towards the more heavier stuff, the harder rocking stuff?
No, I mean, I love Lorelei, right, which is Dennis DeYoung.
Yeah.
And, I don't necessarily.
What about Lady or Babe?
Lady, Babe, they're good. I mean, that was the period in my life, where you're starting to go to dances, and you need those lean on your girlfriend and rock back and forth songs.
They have a place, right?
Yes.
They have a place. It's probably not when you're with the buddies. You're like, let me throw in this. Where's Babe?
Yeah,
let's listen to that one.
That wasn't going to happen, but
at a prom and dances, those are good songs, and definitely indicative of Dennis's more sentimental side, right?
Yeah, and the guy Dennis is a heck of a singer, and I heard him recently singing some of the old Styx stuff, and well into his 60s, he's still hitting those high notes.
Still sounds good, doesn't he?
It's amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, so I will, of the early stuff, there's the classics, but I'll say that I really love Miss America. It's one of my favorite. Is
that a Tommy or is that a JY? No,
I think it's a JY song.
It is a JY, and we talked about that a little bit last time. It is a JY song, and he took crap for that song about being misogynistic and everything else, when in truth it was about his wife and the struggles that she has.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, great song. I'm a big fan of Dennis's stuff too. And I love Renegade. Who doesn't love Renegade?
Yeah.
It's good stuff. So let's talk a little bit about post Dennis's departure. Is there anything now that they've regrouped or anything that you have enjoyed or?
I think I'd be hard pressed to know anything post Kilroy was here.
Right.
So I know that there are stuff that they put out there, but I have not purchased it or even listened to it that I know of.
Yeah. So I will say this. So Dennis was replaced by a guy named Lawrence Gowan, who had a career as he's a Canuck. And that's right.
Because we're Rush fans, you know.
Right. Why we love Rush, and I love Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Yes.
And I believe Michael J. Fox came from Canada.
And Captain Kirk.
And really?
Yes.
I did not know Shatner was a Canadian.
Yes.
But so we won't hold it against them. Canadians
No.
are good people.
They are.
We are big fans of Canada and their people. But he was apparently had a career and had some chart-topping hits. Something like one of them is called "A Criminal Mind." I guess that might be what considered his classic song.
Okay.
I think they still play it in concert as Styx.
Oh, okay, as a Styx song.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. They don't play anything from Kilroy Was Here.
Yeah, we don't.
Sorry, I keep coming back to it.
Yeah, I still like it, but here's the deal with Lawrence. He just doesn't sound like Dennis. You know, he has a good voice, but he doesn't sound like Dennis.
It's not like you can replay. You know, you're going to find another Pena from to replace Steve Perry from.
Oh yeah,
from
Panetta.
Sorry,
yeah, Arnel Panetta.
Yeah,
it's hard to find those guys. I think Arnel could probably sound more like Dennis than Gowan does.
He's certainly got the range.
And I mean, in fairness, Lawrence probably doesn't feel like he should have to sound like Dennis, but it's nice when those songs sound a little bit like the recordings.
Well, and they did share the spotlight, right? So you had Tommy singing, you had James Young singing on a few of those. So it's not as if everything was all Dennis anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So blast off Eddie Snyder, great call on the Barqs.
Yes.
It's delightful. Styx, an awesome band.
Yes, indeed.
That we love. I think Scott, maybe from the early stuff, loves that stuff more than I do. I was always a casual listener. I really got into Styx with Kilroy Was Here.
There you go.
And I will say this too, if you haven't listened to I want to say it's Mission to Mars, but I can't remember the name of the album. Their latest album is another concept album, and a little harder rocking than Kilroy Was Here, but it's pretty good. It's worth a listen, and I think you can, as with almost everything these days, you don't need to invest a penny. You just go to YouTube and type in Styx and Mars, and all of the songs will come up. So enjoy, highly recommended. Scott, thanks for joining again. Thanks for finding.
And thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. I always love it when we can break away for lunch and hang out a little bit. As always, we'd love to read your comments, so feel free to enter them in below the screen here, down there.
Okay.
And
suggestions.
Yeah, give us suggestions. Tell us what you want to see us drink or topics you want us to cover. And of course,
it will have to be a soft beverage because we're at work.
That's true. We cannot. Our work will not allow the harder beverages. But as always, we'd love you to click the thumbs up and the subscribe buttons as well. And thanks, everybody. Appreciate you watching.